United States submarine base at Key West, Florida. A dispatch that quoted President Truman's press secretary, Charles Ross, as saying that President Truman has no knowledge of any secret project by this government that would give substance to the existence of such objects. Ross also said that both the Air Force and the Navy deny that such objects exist.
Got it. Hey, what's
Hi.
up? My name's Noelle, and I don't know if you can see this right here. Do you see my little Nikki list?
Yeah, I had been admiring that.
Thank you. So, Alora, our crystal girl, told us about the Super 7 or Sacred 7, whatever it was, like that special thing. So, I got you bracelets.
Your ring is fucking slapping too.
Oh yeah, I'll do a tour. I'll do a tour even though no one else can see besides you. So I got you bracelets of it, and then I got myself just a stone, and when it came in, it was prettier than I expected, so I wanted to wear it as a necklace.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I went to a local girl, and she wrapped it for me. So that's what this is.
Nice. I still need to get mine wrapped that you gave me. There's nothing where I live.
Well, there's multiple where I live. It was like $10. This ring, this is actually my greatest. This is from Dancing Crane Imports for the locals of Salt Lake City. It's a gorgeous giant silver, like Western style ring with a giant stone in the middle. The stone is citrine. This was $10.
That's adorable.
Can't beat that price. I got one for my mom when I see her, because she's going to be, this is the one I got her. It's purple. I don't know what
I want to
this
hang out
one
with your
is.
mom when she comes down here, by the way.
You should. And then I got one for my partner, and his is very cute as well. But yeah, this is like, and it's adjustable. Love it. Did have to paint it with clear nail polish though, because it was turning my fingy green.
That happens, yeah.
But and then also underneath my shirt, you can't see it, but I'll show it.
Chest hair.
Besides
I can
my
see that.
massive chest hair, this is a birthday present that Ty got me. It's from a designer online called Wild Witch Forge or Wild Witch Forge, something like that. Anyway, found out that she's from Utah, and it's a broomstick. A broomstick made
Very
out of
cute.
black tourmaline with a moonstone in the middle, and she's like, it's for magic. So,
Man, he nailed your birthday. Your partner did.
I know. I heard it caused issues between you and yours.
It did. Even as recently as yesterday, because Trixie Mattel has like a new bomber jacket out. And I told my partner, I'm like, just fucking open your phone, man, and just keep a list of shit that I talk about. That's it. Keep a list.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's done it, but I laid on the bomber jacket pretty thick. And then he sends me a text the next day and he's like, what size of that bomber jacket do you want?
Oh.
And I said, no. You have to figure it out. You have to do what I do. You have to go into my closet. You have to look at all my clothes. You have to like pick up a shoe. You have to look inside the shoe, see what somebody's shoe size is. Like you have to put in work, man. I can't hold people's hands for it. And I think I'm just projecting the fact that like my family did this much for my birthday, which some of you may not see what I'm doing here. A whopping zero things.
It's an empty zero.
I just fucking sat home on my birthday, and I know my sister listens to this podcast. Becca, it's called weaponized incompetence. You have weaponized your incompetence against me, and now it has caused me to be such a fucking princess about presents. I'm like, if you could put just a fucking microbe of effort that I'm not doing for you, and poor Oliver is taking the brunt of all of it.
I mean, yeah, I don't blame him. As he should though. Love that for you. Also, that's Chelsea, and she's clearly upset.
I'm Chelsea, upset as usual. I'm Queen of Krampus.
Peace and love. I feel like I get you more gifts than your partner does.
I get you more gifts than he does, and my family does on my birthday combined. Which I think maybe just that's our like. I don't want to say like love language in like romantic way, but it's like our love language. Like
it's for sure my love language. I like which as people probably know from past episodes, like I had an ex who like weaponized that against me, and it like took me so long to like get over that and be well with it because my favorite thing to do for people is like get them little things that remind me of them. Which like has become such a problem with the crystal girls because most crystals are pretty affordable. So like
Mhm.
I'll just be in a place be like, ooh, for you and for you and for you.
But they have like meaning behind them too.
Yeah.
That's why they're like such great gifts.
Yeah, absolutely. I that's why I think they're great gifts too. Like I'm gonna be meeting my partner's mom
Hmm.
soon, and I was like thinking of making, and I was like, "Ugh, is this too much?" I was like gonna give her like a little essential oil thing that I use, and then like some
Oh,
crystals.
do it for sure.
So
I
that's what
want to
I'm
go to
doing.
the crystal store with you soon.
There's
Or
like
just send me the
three
address and I'll go.
around my house, so just let me know. Um, but yeah, excited to give you your Super 7 bracelets tomorrow.
I actually got you a present while I was at the thrift store. It
Wow.
was like some weird Soviet shirt with like the sickle on it.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's an extra large, so you can wear it as a dress. I don't know
My
if you like it.
favorite.
It's literally just that, like embroidered on, but I was like, gotta get it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that so much.
So gift giving. You know what else gives gifts?
But
Fucking weirdos. I tried to
actually,
segue.
no, here's an even better segue before we get in this. You know
Get
who
out of
gives
here.
great gifts? Our merch site. We
Oh,
dropped
good.
we dropped technically three now, but I would say two absolute bangers. We have the finally much anticipated and awaited and talked about a cult member t-shirt designed off of none other than the Harvard sweater that Princess Diana infamously has worn. And the details in that are fucking incredible. So shout outs, Chelsea, taking my rudimentary sketches and being like, we got to make it happen.
I'll also say shout out to Noelle, who I think I sent through like 60 different font options. That font was hard to find, and it's just
Yeah,
basic font.
I know.
It took me 8 seconds to get the like crazy, like biblically accurate angel font. We were working on the Princess Diana font
Yeah,
for like
it was
2 hours.
fucking hard, like staring at fonts for so long, it got ridiculous.
Ugh.
But so that one, and then of course the Be Not Afraid biblical angel in the black metal writing, an absolute banger. It sucks when I like purchase our own merch, like all of it. I got the cropped hoodie of the
Oh,
biblical angel, and I
cropped hoodie.
got
So cute.
and got to do a cropped hoodie, and then did the XL pullover in black of the school spirit cult member.
Oh, so
Even
cute.
though I feel like I should have had mine said say cult leader, but like pff, whatever, like it's fine. The
We
font was
can
so
like
hard to
fix it in
get.
post.
And then Chelsea just put up for the season some Krampus shirts, long sleeves, and joggers. So you could have a matching set of a long sleeve and joggers. And
Dude, pajamas. That's what
yeah,
it is.
literally
Matching
pajamas.
topsies bodies.
Um, and as always, everything is priced as low as it can go. That meaning like literally we make 16 cents off of each sale because most of it goes into production and distribution,
Mhm.
and all the money that we get back in profit is just donated. And because so many of you just within the first like day have purchased merch, we actually have for like the first time in our Teespring like money there. Like there is
Yeah. It
more
also
than cents.
crashed our store and some of our stuff I had to like go in and fix, which is
Love that.
weird. I didn't personally expect that, but when people today were like, "Hey, some of your stuff says like sold out," I was like, "That's impossible. Stuff doesn't sell out there." And I had to go in and like re-upload it and like reapprove all the designs.
Wow, you love
Weird.
to
It was
see it.
weird.
But yeah, there was discourse in the Discord channel about some designs that people were looking at yesterday not being there today, and they were like, "What's the deal? I wanted to buy this color." But yeah, apparently we crashed site, so love that.
It should
Also,
be up now.
finally sat down and made us a link tree, which so the link tree is in all of our bios. It's now on a button on Facebook. It's in the bio of Instagram and Twitter, and it will direct you to our merch site, the Discord page, the Facebook group, Kelly's stickers, and all of our socials. So big excite about that. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. I'm a fucking idiot, honestly, that's why. But check that out.
Yes, please. And we're probably going to donate. We don't know what charity we're going to donate to. Noelle's mentioned the Church of Satan, the Satanist,
the Satanic Temple.
Yeah.
Please come correct if you're going to come for me.
Man, I don't know. Or I looked up one and it was just like a reproductive rights thing, and that's like the whole kit and caboodle down and fighting in Texas also. Basically, like Planned Parenthood, but with more money.
I think the Satanic Temple has the Satanic Reproductive Freedom Fundraiser.
Yeah. So honestly, like it's going to go to a good cause either way. If you're not pro-choice, I don't know what you're doing here, but
yeah.
Fuck you.
Also, shout outs to, so I don't know if anyone knows, Hassan Piker is, the love of my life. And he does a podcast now with H3, with Ethan from H3, and it's called Leftovers. And it's kind of like a funny, lighthearted political commentary. And on this most recent episode, he referred to people as anti-choice rather than like pro-lifers, rather than saying pro-life. He was referring to them as anti-choice, which I love. I love that because like the connotation of pro-life even just sounds positive, even if you know that like what it actually means and what like that details and entails in itself. There's something like saying pro and then comma like life. That's all, you know what I mean? Like positive things. But when you say anti-choice, that's basically like throwing it back into the people, who are like making the same arguments. You know what I mean?
I would agree 100%.
The people who are like, I don't want the vaccine because it's my choice. Well, you doing this is anti-choice. So I love that. I think everyone should adopt. He's probably not the first person to say it, but he's the first person I've heard it from. And I love it. And I think we should all adopt that vernacular.
Yeah, I agree. Smart.
Speaking of nothing to do with anything, let's talk about this.
I'm so fucking excited. This is one of those things where it's like been on the back of my mind, but I just wanted to do it justice. So like, unless we could have at least 5 pages, I was like, not doing it. I hope it's good because it's like one of those things where it's like very near and dear to me.
I'm excited for you to drive this episode.
We'll see.
My voice is tired and I am weak.
Your voice is dark and full of terrors. Okay. We're going to go on a little journey through time here. So in New Jersey, on October 16th, 1966, 2 boys were walking together when they saw a very strange man standing near a fence. They described him as like way too tall, just weirdly tall. And he was staring at the kids with like a very off-putting grin, like almost Joker-like, but like the grin extended like up to his eyes, not necessarily like out like a normal person's grin would, like how a child draws a grin. And the boys, named Martin Munach and James Yanchitis, ran home and told their mothers about the encounter. And for some time, their meeting with this like weird, tall, smiling man was just dismissed as the imaginative nature of young boys who are simply trying to find ways to entertain themselves. Then let's flash forward to November 2nd.
I also want you to know that the average height of an adult man in 1966 was between 5'7" and 5'8.5". So, like maybe this guy was just an average tall man. Like now,
5'10".
Yeah, he's just literally 5'10".
5'10". Yeah, that was it. Then on November 2nd, 1966, a salesman named Woodrow Derringer was driving home. Derringer. Tough
name all around.
Woodrow, it's a mouthful, was driving home to Virginia after an extended trip in Ohio. And during his drive, a car drove up very quickly behind Woodrow's truck and tailgated him for a short while before like overtaking him and passing him really quick. pulling into his lane right in front of Woodrow, and then immediately stopping. Not expecting this maneuver at all, Woodrow nearly flipped his truck off of the road and had to slam on his own brakes to avoid the collision. So after collecting himself, like Woodrow checked, no broken bones, nothing like that. And he looked up and the door to the car that had cut him off, or the door to the vehicle that had cut him off, was open. And out from that vehicle stepped a very initially normal looking guy on first glance. Woodrow described him as being dressed in a long dark coat and had his hair slicked back. And the guy stared at Woodrow for a moment before he started to approach Woodrow's truck. And the closer that he got, the more the vehicle behind him started to kind of rise off of the ground. So by the time this guy got to Woodrow's driver's side window, the vehicle, which Woodrow described as like a kerosene lamp with like fire shooting out of both ends, was hovering at 40 feet above the road. And locking eyes with Woodrow, the man introduced himself telepathically, saying that his name was Cold.
Cold?
Yeah.
Cold?
Cold. Yes. Indrid Cold. And Indrid proceeded to have a very strange conversation with Woodrow about the area. And
what was strange about it? The fact that it was happening through their minds?
Yeah, just weird. And a paranormal investigator named Susan Shepard transcribed like a little bit of their conversation. I forgot to warn you. Do you want to do a dramatic reenactment of this?
Oh, absolutely.
You could be weirdo tall guy Indrid, or you can be Woodrow, West Virginian simpleton.
I thought he was from New Jersey.
No. The little boys were from New Jersey.
Oh my God.
New Jersey boys. The November sighting was a grown-ass man named Woodrow.
I don't know what West Virginia sounds like.
It probably just sounds like the same as our English accents, to be honest.
Okay.
Do you want me to do West Virginia? You can be the creepy
I'll do
guy?
it. Okay. I might just do we'll see what happens. Okay. Honestly, I'll let it come
I don't know
naturally.
what I'm going to do. So I'll be Indrid.
This is news.
So like, what do you call that over there?
That was horrible.
Thanks.
Why, that's the pox. I don't know. I don't know why that went like English. Why, that's a poxburger. We call that a city. What is that?
I don't know. You sound like one of those guys. He's like, see here, see. Like,
that's good then. Yeah, that's what he.
I like. Oh
no, this was the 60s. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me go like more hippie. Okay.
Keep in mind, this was like a guy from West Virginia, so he's definitely not a hippie.
Yeah, West Virginia.
I come from a place less powerful than yours.
Oh my God, he's a juggalo. He's a juggalo. The gathering.
I dig through the ditches. And do people live there or do they work there?
Why, yes, people live. I don't know. That sounds like not what I wanted it to. Why, yes, people live and work there. Is that more Bible thumper?
I don't know. Do you work, Mr. Derringer?
I am a salesman. Oh, that's a perfect voice. I am a salesman. That's what I do. Do you have a job?
Yes.
Why would he ask that? Who asked that?
Because in West Virginia, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. All you are is the career you have. Yes. I'm a searcher. Why are you so frightened? Do not be afraid. We mean you no harm. You will see that we eat and bleed the same as you do. We only wish you happiness.
Uh-huh.
And then after noticing how terrible or how terrified Woodrow was by this like weird ass interaction, Indrid ended the conversation by saying, "It's been nice to talk to you, Mr. Woodrow. We'll be seeing you again."
You know, it was tough for me in the beginning. I didn't know where I wanted to land with this accent, but I'm glad that I got there eventually.
See, I ended up just descending into Mark Hamill's The Joker, and now my throat hurts.
Bitch, you thought that was the Joker? You sounded like fucking Gollum. What?
I did not sound like Gollum. I sounded like Dollar General, Dollar Store Joker, which was not good. Well,
No,
it
you did
sounded
not.
terrible to me, all right?
Giving yourself saying that you're Mark Hamill's Joker is the most offensive thing Mark Hamill you've ever done.
I descended into a store brand shitty version of
You descended into Gollum. And you look
Remember
like
my Gollum
him too.
impression a few weeks ago? Like that was so fucking spot on. I'm scared to try to do it again because I know
Don't do it again. You'll lose your voice.
Do you see me itching my throat? Like that fucked me up.
Yeah.
So, and around the same time as like Woodrow's experience, a little girl in Point Pleasant named Linda Lilly was complaining to her parents about diamond-shaped lights keeping her up at night. And the weird thing here is that her parents were like, okay, Linda, just chill. It's a poltergeist, and carried on business as usual.
I love the honesty.
Yeah, there's like, fuck you. Yeah, we're haunted. Deal with it. And this had been going on for a while. But one night they came to realize that Linda was being haunted by something much more nefarious than a poltergeist or her own imagination. Because Linda at one night woke up the entire fucking household because there was a tall, grinning man standing over her bed. And she screamed for her parents, who ultimately and quickly came to her aid, and the man was scared off.
So they saw him too.
Yeah. So normally these sorts of interactions would be dismissed. I mean, there's millions of sightings, like alleged sightings of weird shit in the middle of nowhere.
Man. He's Slender Man of the 60s.
Right. And other people were in the area that time as well, and no one confirmed the mysterious sightings of Indrid Cold or his vessel. So when Woodrow was having his entire interaction with Indrid Cold, other people were in the area and they were driving by and they saw Woodrow basically just having a conversation with himself.
Oh, you hate to see it.
So the day after his own experience, Woodrow attempted to go back to his regular regime of, the rise and grind. But the next day he was completely sidetracked by the news reporting of UFO sightings in that area. And somebody managed to get a hold of him and they got his information. They heard that he had kind of had a weird encounter during the time of this, the height of these UFO sightings. So they requested that he take part of an interview with an NBC affiliate in Parkersburg, which is what the city that Indrid Cold was asking about. And he was, in fact, interviewed and then subsequently interrogated by police who also came to the interview. And he went through the whole gambit. He drew a picture of what Indrid Cold looked like. He worked with a sketch artist. He even drew a picture of what the spacecraft looked like. But the only real conclusion that anybody could make of any of this was that Woodrow was so terrified and his terror was so palpable that it was rubbing off on people around him. People would hear his story and the authenticity of how he told it, and it was fucking scaring people.
You want to know what he should have done? He should have said that the alien smiling man was Russian. If you want something to be truly investigated, you're you either say it was the Russians or the Chinese. That's it. You say, I think it was China, actually. The man was, he was even now, not even in this, yes, in the 60s, but even now, you could have been I think it was a drone from Russia that he came
100%,
down in. Everyone would have taken it seriously.
Yeah, or Illuminati, we're getting a little bit of satanic panic back.
We are. Be it was a devil worshiper and they were drinking baby blood and they had the face of Hillary Clinton and all of a sudden the CIA is backing you.
It's a chimera. It's the Democrat chimera. The face of Hillary Clinton, but the head of dead babies. Dead baby blood is their hair.
Yeah, literally. If you say that, all of a sudden you've got a full SWAT detail protecting you at all times.
Yeah, 100%. He just didn't play the game right.
Yeah, that's it. All these people, whenever you hear about people who talk about their alien experiences, they always get fucked, right? It's the running joke that people are they're doing it for attention, but the attention is always negative. They don't really get paid for their stories, and then they their wife leaves them and they lose their job. No one's ever having fun after they come out about an alien story, so that kind of falls apart in itself. And it's all they had to do is play the game right and just say that it was the Russians.
Well, and that that's essentially what happened to Woodrow's life after this interaction. Which is, it fell apart. He started to change jobs all the time. He tried to reinvigorate his faith by going to church. He started having marital problems, and he was always harassed by visits of strange men in black suits.
Yeah.
And although their questions were always really general, like their threatening behavior intimidated Woodrow immensely. And I'm sure like ominous people stalking you would like just fucking ruin your day. But imagine it ruining your day for like the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And what makes Woodrow's specific encounter very fucking interesting and really worth talking about is that just 10 days later, the infamous Mothman of West Virginia would pop up preceding the famed Silver Bridge collapse. And for those of you who want to learn more about the Mothman reports of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, we really recommend you read John Kill's The Mothman Prophecies.
Oh, and I wrote a note for myself here. John Kill is also the guy who coined the term Men in Black about the people who come to visit you after you've had experiences of the paranormal, the people who come to visit you and like whether it's interrogate you or make sure you're not spreading the story anymore, whatever it may be.
It's intimidation. It's like always intimidation, right?
Yeah. But like no one knows.
It'd be a shame if anything happened to you if you talked about this too much.
But haven't you heard like both sides of the Men in Black that like there's some of them who are like intimidation and then there's like some of them who are like I guess the whole thing is are they with or against? Like there's a conversation with the Men in Black being a government entity and there's a conversation about the Men in Black being like an alien entity.
Like aliens cosplaying a government entity.
Exactly.
To like find out what we know. Yeah. I like to I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say the Men in Black are human. Whether or not they align or work for our government or not, jury's out.
Oh, look at you taking a very centrist stance on that.
Yeah, they're non-human government workers. I like to play it safe.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I'm never not wrong.
Never not. But during his investigation, by the way, have you ever read the Mothman Prophecies?
No, because it reads like Behold a Pale Horse. It's just gobbledygook. You were scared by it.
This book got me, and I'm like very rarely gotten. And I don't want to say it was like got in the sense of like, oh, it got me. I was so surprised. I was so genuinely scared that I didn't finish it. And I was so afraid of like just the idea.
When did you read it?
High school or junior high.
Okay.
It's been a minute.
Sense.
I'm willing to like dive into again. I just got the 8th Tower as a gift. Shout out to Oliver. I think Oliver got me that one. That was actually a really good one. Sorry that you're taking all of the brunt of like other people. Bless you. Appreciate you. It was fucking scary, dude. And I think it was just like the nature of my belief and the way that John Keel wrote it, I was like, I too am experiencing this.
I feel like your the fact that your OCD makes you think that they're like sky people, and then you're also Christian. This is probably a rough read for you, especially
because like part of like my OCD is definitely like the rumination on a thought. So I will just obsess over something.
Yeah,
and just the obsession of it. I would read like a chapter of the Mothman Prophecies, and then I would read something else after, like Twilight, like something just very palate cleansing, like easy to consume.
Funny to me because I tried to read the Mothman prophecies as a adult, and it was rough to me, and it was just like incoherent ramblings. It just was like half of it was interviews. Half of it seemed like it was him just describing his own paranoia. And I was just like, to me, it read like, I know for a fact that he 100% believed everything that he was writing. But to me, I was like, is it mental illness in it? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it got really, to me, the
very
only
pragmatic.
Thing scary was like the undiagnosed mental illness throughout that entire book.
I would be willing to retry it as an adult, but I think I'd have to wait until summertime, man. I have to be outside in the sunshine.
It's too dark and dreary for you.
Well, kind of like I just get too consumed by some of this stuff. Like I like to dive into things, but I would say the only thing like mentally that consumes me more than like what the fuck is going on with Antarctica is like the fucking Mothman.
Yeah, that's fair.
It gets
Also,
me.
I want you to know that you didn't reply to my very funny comment when you shared a picture of Antarctica on your Instagram story, and I said, "Why is this picture taken on a Kia Sorrento's backup camera?"
You want to know why? I literally just opened up my Instagram. That's how hard I was working at work today.
It was the grainiest, blurriest, like dad taking a picture of a picture on a screen.
You want to know why? Because I could see my uncle's fucking front yard down to the pebble. And then I go to Antarctica and they have this like giant pixelated bullshit. And they're trying to be like, this is actual satellite imagery. Fuck you, Google Earth. Where's Bing Earth? Bing Earth will help me.
Bing Earth will show the story. There's
no such thing.
Makes they don't $2 have a year.
They don't have the financials to actually launch anything into space.
No, Bing needs to get into crypto and NFTs, and then they'll start thinking about Bing Earth.
Bing, hit me up. Your biggest supporter. Perhaps your only supporter. So anyway, during his investigation into the Mothman and before the bridge collapse, John Keel received numerous phone calls from a very mysterious man who identified himself as Indrid Cold.
Do we also want to say that it would be like, how could I say this? If I knew the crazy alien guy down the street, I would be prank calling him every day. I would just be like, it would be, is your refrigerator running, but is the UFO landed on your roof? I would call and be like, hello, can you hear me? They're coming for me. Like, you know what I mean? Or be like, hey, I live down the street from you, and did you happen to park something on your roof? Because there's a lot of bright light. You know, I would just fuck with them every day. I would just literally fuck with them every day.
Are the eclipse that blackens out happiness.
I think I'm making a lot of happiness for myself. So
is an eclipse not happy with its own blacking out of crops?
It's true.
Are the locusts not happy with their own plague, Noelle?
That's a great point. That's a great point.
You're the like wormtail comet. That's what you are. Just a sign of disaster. Just coming in and out of people's lives and bringing nothing but pain and turmoil.
But I'm having a good fucking time.
You know what? Everybody loves a comet.
And to some people, I am their favorite thing. It's like that giant asteroid that was, you know, inches or whatever away from, it wasn't inches, it was way more, but it got pretty close to hitting us, and NASA didn't pick up on it because it was coming from the direction of the sun, and obviously you can't look at the sun and fucking see anything. To some people, hell. To some people, heaven. You know what I mean?
Heaven's Gate, man. They tied.
What was the fucking
Hail Bop?
I always say bop.
the Hanson cult.
That is my personal death
My
cult.
God, they're coming back.
Oh my
Just like
God.
the KKK.
Seriously.
Emboldened again.
Oh man.
That's a shirt idea, the Bop comment for the Hanson cult. Like the away team.
Yeah, Heaven's Gate away team captains, Hanson brother. Oh my God. How can we, I know this is off topic, but also on topic. How do we get a picture of Heaven's Gate, like in the, in the Nikes, like on the bed, but then like pull the sheets back so you can see a face, but it's the face of the Hanson brothers.
Heaven's Gate crime scene photos. That's easy. You want to know what I wanted to do? Remember how it was like, it's never a mannequin? Tell me if you be my moral compass here, which we might go downhill really bad. Yeah. Tell me, Satan, do you think it's a good idea if I take a picture of Elizabeth Short, the
I
Black
knew you were going to say this. Yes.
And put it's never a mannequin over her, like, or over her fucking body.
Okay, here's the thing. Hear me out. Ooh, this is so good. You ready? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people might not like it. I love it. But here we go. This is a meeting halfway. Get a picture of a mannequin body. Put Elizabeth Short's head on it.
Okay.
Mannequin body.
That might be easier.
Short's head.
That might be less X-rated than like a woman.
Or a Barbie doll. A Barbie doll body might not read well because it's tiny. But
no, we want a thick body. The thick body of like a torrid mannequin.
Yeah. And then like make sure you're actually finding her real crime scene photos because I don't know if you know this. Here's a little fact for everyone. This is my fact from the Museum of Death that I will give you all. They had a picture, they had two pictures of Elizabeth Short. They had the actual crime scene photo, and then the photo that was released to the public and like published and talked about, and whatever. Very drastically different things. They like essentially photoshopped of the time her crime scene photo to make it more palpable for people to see. So, and this kind of backfired because a lot of people, specifically the person who wrote this article at the Museum of Death, think that like that editing and downplaying of the true sadistic brutality done to her body made people not take it as seriously because Elizabeth Short's body was like, besides the, the Dahlia smile and chopped in half surgically, like there were the marks of a sadist who hates women, like, the breast area, the stomach, the, vaginal area, like shredded and cut and ripped off. Like it was all very, it was very sadistic. This is someone who does not like women doing this. And all of that was covered up on the photos that were released to the public. So people just looked at it and were like, that's a weird way to kill somebody. And it was just a weird murder versus like there is a women, targeting women killer. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, make sure you get the real photo.
Okay, girl. You know I got you, girl.
Thank you.
Anyway, my God, that was a detour.
Important, though.
Very important. So when Indrid Cold would call John Keel and give him very cryptid warnings, specifically telling him that he wanted him to stay away from Point Pleasant or, quote, something bad would happen. And for those of you who don't know what happened, there's got to be zero people who exist, but we'll cover it. For those of you who don't know what happened with Silver Bridge and Point Pleasant specifically, we'll just fill you in real quick. So Silver Bridge is what we call an I-bar bridge, according to Wikipedia. I don't know what it is, but it has been the popular choice of architects for like about 100 years since its invention. Examples of these sorts of bridges are the Clifton Suspension Bridge and the Three Sisters Bridges in Germany, which are like a very similar design. And we aren't going to go into the architecture of Silver Bridge because I'm hashtag stupid. But the point is that this was like a very established bridge style. It wasn't. It kind of
looks like the Golden Gate a little bit. It's got like those 2 points.
Yeah.
And then like the dip, it like dips in the middle.
Imagine like Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah. And that's basically it. I tried to Google what the difference was because Golden Gate is technically a suspension bridge, but they look the exact same. But apparently,
so is the Clifton Bridge. The Clifton Bridge is
Clifton Suspension Bridge. So anyway, just think it looks. Just think of
the Golden Gate,
fucking Golden Gate Bridge, and bridges like that, like you see them everywhere. It's tried and true. So that's our point here. Is that they weren't doing anything fucking fancy. They were doing like the standard bridge build. Nothing weird with it. So on December 15th, my dad's birthday. In 1967, not my dad's birth year, the Silver Bridge experienced a catastrophic failure and collapsed in the middle of rush hour traffic, resulting in the deaths of 46 people, and 2 of which have just never been found, MIA. So, but starting on November 5th, up until the bridge collapsed, a humanoid creature described as the Mothman appeared so prevalently in West Virginia that it made national news. And there's been some theories about what the Mothman could be, including like an angel of death or an alien. But we're not really here to talk about the details of one of the few cryptids that legitimately scares me. But we want to talk about Indrid Cold and his affiliation with the inexplicable. So unlike the Mothman, Indrid Cold made more appearances, and specifically when it came to visiting our good friend Woodrow. Because at one point, Woodrow like fucking vanished off the face of the earth for about 6 months with literally zero trace of evidence, like just gone one day. Like he had a job, he had a home, he had a family, straight up into the ether. His clothes were home, his truck was there. Like,
Oh, I guess this is the 60s, not the 20s, because I'm
Yeah.
like, back in the day, you could just go a town over and
Yeah, back when our parents were alive.
yeah, like you could just literally drive down to a different town and you're a new guy.
Yeah, but he had like ties in the area, you know? It was like one of those things where it's like they wouldn't just get up and walk away
Hmm.
until he did move, but he did hold her. We'll get into that later. But he was gone for 6 months and he did just like pop the fuck back up with like a very strange story to tell. And I do love this. He told everyone that he had been taken by Indrid Cold back to his home planet of Lanulos, where Woodrow was impregnated and walked around naked all the time.
Oh.
And although he stated that the population of Lanulos was peaceful and without war, Woodrow was obviously like very disturbed by his abduction. And he wasn't alone by being disturbed by it, but most people like just turned him into a huge laughing stock, which kind of goes back to what you talked about earlier. Just there is nothing to gain from being honest about like your weird alien encounters. Like I'll believe you, man, but like it's like playing a dangerous game.
Yeah, going around to all of your buddies in West Virginia being like, sorry, I was missing for 6 months. I was abducted and taken to an alien planet where I walked around pregnant like a Kim Kardashian maternity photo shoot.
Yeah, and
no one thinks it's cute.
Yeah, and the weird thing is that there were nightly flashes of lights and like UFOs that appeared above Woodrow's farmhouse fucking consistently. Like people noticed this strange UFO phenomenon that was just manifesting over him, yet they still didn't give him the time of day when it came to like his encounters about actually, you know, corresponding and interacting with UFOs. So he got like literally ran out of town. The only time that he returned was in 1990. He came back to die, and that was it. So just so that he could be buried in the Mount Zion Cemetery in West Virginia. Very fucking sad. Like he didn't gain anything from this. And it's always so weird to me when you hear these stories of just like a regular fucking dude, man. And their whole life is ruined. And people are like, no, you're crazy. You're crazy. But these people are like normal fucking people. Like they have literally nothing to gain from like their interaction or like their story. And people still think like they're selling something.
It's and when you learn about like how these stories are taken and sold, especially back in the day, I doubt it's gotten any better, but like they weren't making a profit off of anything. They were being exploited to the nth degree. So it's not even like, oh, well, they were just selling their story and embellishing it to make more money. Like they weren't making anything. They oftentimes were, you know, left with fucking pennies in their pocket and their family had left them. Like
this dude wasn't trying to like ruin his life. No. You know what I mean? But he also wasn't like a fucking liar, and he was going to tell people like he wasn't going to lie to like protect his reputation or whatever. He was a straight shooter and he told people the truth, and then they ran him out of town for it.
I do think that he
what he was saying he believed. We'll say that.
Well, not only that, he did try to write a book, I think.
He did. I wanted to buy it, but it holds its value.
Visitors from
Lanulos.
Yeah.
Which you want to know the sad thing about it?
Cold, but
it does hold its value. So when I tried to buy it, it was still like $36-ish. Mm-hmm. But people took his book and then wrote other books that I've heard about. Mm-hmm. And like he basically did the footwork of people now just like making money off of his story. Very sad because like it's more acceptable now. You know what I mean? Like John Kill, he does write some weird stuff, but you slap Richard Gere's face on a Mothman movie and suddenly it's not like a conspiracy anymore, you know? Like the Richard Gere and Woodrow was like,
well, also like the whole thing, the Woodrow book, it was published in 1971 and it was like, the reason why it holds its value now, or specifically those copies, because there were only like a few made. It literally became the rarest UFO contactee book ever, and became like a collector's item and something that people were like really trying to get after because there was such a limited amount.
Mm-hmm. But it was self-published.
But in 2014, it was reissued. because there were only half a dozen copies remaining in like the world's library system. So like across the entire globe, because like UFO enthusiasts were trying to like get their hands on it, like half a dozen copies were only being able to be located, and they were trading for thousands of dollars at that point. And so they did a reissue in 2014, and you can now get it. I think you can find it for, as you were saying, like 30, but I think you can find a used copy for 17. But
Yeah,
if
you
anyone
can
has
get
one of
like a
those
reprinted
originals,
one.
whoo, woo,
If you have the original,
I don't think
I will make you a baby.
I think that if you have the original, like from the original release, I think you're an avid, like, I think like someone like Nick Cage would have it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, like someone
eccentric
perfect.
collector.
Someone perfect who will never love me.
I don't know if you'd say perfect. I'm not
I
really
would say Nick
feeling.
Cage is perfect.
I'm not really feeling his new marriage. Do you know about
Man,
this?
his marriage, if you look at all of his wives recently, they all like, you can tell he has a type for sure. When it's women, very
It's
young.
Yeah. It's young women. She is.
But whatever. I'm just biding my time till he marries me. Nick Cage, hit me up.
Yeah.
But in regards to Woodrow, there was an article written about him by someone named Nick Redfern, and he said that, quote, a few elements to a story make it believable that initially something of extraordinary nature happened to him. First of all, his account predates the Mothman sightings by 12 days, and Woodrow would have had to have been a prophet to know what was going to happen next, making his story even more extraordinary. And his family believes that something of another, like otherworldly nature did happen to Woodrow. It just sucks that like it ruined his life,
Yeah, his daughter came back and wrote the, what is it, epilogue of his book when it was re-released in 2014. But like I don't think his wife was really loving it,
No, that it like ruined their marriage as far as what I could find. Like it was never the same.
Yeah, she was not a fan.
And this isn't where like Indrid Cold's story ends, just because Indrid Cold's baby daddy died. In 2003, in Holden, Massachusetts, a witness filed a UFO like sighting report. You can like report them to like official places like the CIA or the FBI or even MUFON, and described a vehicle hovering at about 20 feet above the treetops. They said it was rectangular shaped with 3 headlights directly in front of it. And then they also said that it was acting kind of like it was scanning or searching for something, just like the way it was kind of doing like a back and forth above the trees. And this went on for a few minutes before this craft eventually shot off into the sky. And they did like the composite sketch. They filled out all this stuff, and then it was released. And as soon as this report was released by UFOologists,
ufologists.
I don't know why I typed it. I'm like Ron Burgundy, man. I read what I type. Ufologists. My fucking bad. They immediately recognized the craft as a dead ringer for fucking Indrid Cold's vehicle that was described and drawn by Woodrow decades earlier. And what's even more fascinating about all of these encounters is that the witnesses all agree on the appearance and the name of the man who is visiting them and causing massive amounts of trauma in their lives, specifically from the 60s. Like we didn't have the internet, or things like that where stuff could just take off like wildfire. These were like completely independent sightings that investigators went through and documented like after, and then they started putting together all these different things, specifically what happened at Point Pleasant. And they're like, Jesus, all these people are visited by the same fucking guy, and none of these people know each other. And there are other reports of Indrid that do pop up here and there, and they're all consistent, 100% consistent. And most of these witnesses even agree on the same general sketch of Indrid's creepy appearance. Specifically, like his weird grin when he's watching you. Yeah. But they say that he's very tall, that he's always in like a solid colored green or blue one-piece suit. He has a very weird tan. Like it's clear he's tan, but it's not like a human color. It's very uncanny valley.
Orange.
Yeah. Eyes are set unnaturally apart. That he has a very shallow nose to the point where some people have even said like it doesn't even look like he has a nose at all. Communicates telepathically, and that his mere presence causes confusion, fatigue, and loss of time. Seen near UFO sightings, seen in homes, standing over people as they sleep, travels in the same aircraft, small little eyes that are unblinking, and too large for his face smile, which doesn't move even if he's speaking, and no ears.
Yeah, he's not looking good.
No. And at this point, these sightings qualify as a phenomenon, which is a fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially when one whose cause or explanation is in question. So Indrid Cold has appeared enough. I don't want to say it's fact. It's just phenomenon. There is an Indrid Cold fucking phenomenon where this guy shows up and people all get the exact same encounters and explanations. And maybe now during like modern times where we can access stuff on the internet and kind of like perpetuate these stories, it's very different that most of the encounters were documented in the 60s before this existed.
And then like everyone's shit lines up. Like it would be easy to read about it online and then like, fake.
It's like the Ted Bundy sightings, everybody described the same fucking person. And then you're like, oh, it's Ted.
Yeah.
So who or what is Indrid Cold exactly? So you're going to fucking, every time I find something that has like really good information, I know you're just going to read me for filth at the website name, but Connell blog, that would be Con L blog.
Oh, like a blog that cons you?
Maybe cons liberals. I don't know. Moth to the flame. Oh my God, we should make shirts. It's a Mothman going to like a little lantern. How cute.
You're merch on the mind, dog.
Man, I'm fucking
merch
killing
on
it
the mind.
So there's a couple of different explanations. The most popular one is the alien theory. And this one's more implied by his very description, which is alien in nature, and his choice of vehicle. So remember, aliens really can exist in any realm, depending on what you subscribe to as far as extraterrestrials. So it doesn't really matter if you believe that aliens are physical beings from outer space, or if they're just like interdimensional beings that can like zip zap in and out of like our visual spectrum, like Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. Indrid Cold may be somebody from space or a parallel world with the ability to pierce the veil and travel to our own reality. That's most common one. Then the hoax theory of essentially it's all fake, bitch. Oh, and everyone in the history of man is, this is basically like everyone in the history of man is making their Indrid Cold encounters up, and we are all going to die alone and pants full of turds. And this theory made me so mad, and here's why. And we've talked about it already extensively, but like all those encounters with Indrid Cold that we documented earlier with Woodrow and Linda occurred at the same time, same descriptions, and the name of the same mysterious grinning man. Even like John Keel experienced it when he was trying to do his investigations about the Mothman. Like he wasn't even in the Indrid Cold like part of like what
he wasn't in the Indrid Cold cinematic universe yet.
Not yet. He was just like Mothman, bridge collapse. Let's fucking go. And then he started stumbling upon to the Indrid Cold things like during his investigation. And you can hoax your way out of a lot of things, but I just don't think this is like a hoaxable thing. And we haven't done an episode about high strangeness yet, but basically a lot of the topics that we talk about is high strangeness, which is, we've all experienced it. And the easiest way I can describe it is kind of like the Matrix. And it's anything that triggers the caveman lizard part of our brains to be aware that something is peculiar, bizarre, or utterly absurd.
Yeah.
The best example I think is like our missing 411 episode. And I tried to find it. I have no idea where it is. I thought maybe we should try to like name our episodes something more sensical. Like this is the Indrid Cold episode. But I was like, that's so dumb. I thought I could just Google it. I tried Googling missing 401 episode Chelsea and Noel, but I couldn't find it. Anyway.
Yeah, you're never going to be able to.
But it's like the same thing. Like, when you watch Star Wars or like any movie where they like de-age an actor, and it could be like millions of dollars worth of technology, but you look at it and you're like, that's not a human face.
Yeah.
Even if it's 100% down to the last fucking pixel of human face, it's uncanny valley. Uncanny valley is along the same tier as high strangeness. And you want to know what fucks me up about uncanny valley? I shared it on my Instagram because I stumbled across this thing because I love uncanny valley stuff. It was this thought that I had never like really considered before, but it was just a quote. One of the most frightening things I've ever heard is when someone pointed out that the existence of the uncanny valley implies that at some point there was an evolutionary reason to be afraid of something that looked human but wasn't.
Oh yeah, that's a fun thought.
That one fucked me up. So that's essentially it. Just it's a fucking hoax. I don't like that one. I don't buy that it's a hoax. You can call Indrid Cold whatever you want, but these people met something or someone, human or not. I don't think it's a full hoax.
Yeah.
Which kind of ties into the third theory, which is just a mentally unwell human.
I do like this one because witnesses saying that they saw him, like Woodrow, just in the middle of the street lollygagging. That does make me think, like, you know, but I will say, I know what you're going to say, like, oh, it's an alien, a superhuman being who came in on a fucking spaceship. They could probably make it so that other people can't see them and that they're only seen by the people they want to be seen by. I know. I'm going to flippity
flip this on you.
Oh God, what?
May make it more scary. This number 3, mentally unwell human, isn't implying that Woodrow was unwell. It's implying that Indrid Cold is a mentally unwell human.
Oh,
who's just fucking zip-zapping around and like literally terrifying people with his weird mannerisms. He could have like some sort of physical thing going on that makes him long and weird. But that one's almost like scarier to me than the alien thing, because then that means that like this grown-ass mentally ill dude who's fucking weird was just standing in a little girl's bedroom staring at her, fucking haunting her for weeks. And her parents were like, it's a poltergeist. But no, it was an actual human man. I
do like that one. You're right. I do like that one. Spooky, I'm going to go with that one.
My own theory is just maybe like an agent of the Men in Black. Maybe that's just a theory I'm adding. I think Indrid Cold is an alien, or like kind of like Silver Surfer, just a harbinger of doom, or like a messenger.
Yeah.
But I also think that it would make sense if Indrid Cold is sent by the Men in Black to like document these UFO sightings, and just has the ability, like signed a deal with Roosevelt or whatever, so that he can track shit down. We all believe in that. That's not even a theory at this point. That's hashtag fact on this podcast. So
yeah, the hashtag, did he go to the dentist or not?
Yeah. Didn't. So Indrid Cold, like seriously, Google him. He pops up a lot, man. I was watching the Hellier documentary.
Well, yeah, because he's the smiling man. He's the smiling man.
That's another thing too.
That's the cryptid. He's the smiling man.
There's another thing where it's like the "Have you seen this man?" Have you ever seen that? The "Have you seen this man?"
No. I mean, like,
it's the grinning man, and it looks like Indrid Cold. It's very scary, but it's essentially like there's a certain population or percentage of people who see like
like this is what their sleep paralysis demon looks like.
Yes. Yeah. But it's not anything that remarkable. I'll slack it to you. But I get very Indrid Cold vibes from it. And this isn't like a realistic man. It's just a it's almost like this guy is more believable to me than the Slender Man.
Slender Man to me isn't believable at all. This guy at least is a little bit believable.
Slender Man's believable to me in the idea that it's like a tulpa, that we have created it in some regard.
I would agree to that, since those little girls tried to kill their friend about it. Definitely created a tulpa for sure.
Yeah, and I was receptive to tulpas, like, oh, sorry, I just sent it to you twice. I was receptive to tulpas just because of Supernatural, and they explained like a tulpa. And then I heard about Slender Man being a tulpa, and it was like already fucking in my mind, where it was like one, like I just connected 2 dots, because Supernatural is the perfect fucking show. My favorite show of all time, next to RuPaul's Drag Race. And but that's like the description of like, have you seen it, this man, or have you dreamt of him? But it's like a common thing, you know, like people dream of falling. It's like a very common face to think of. So
he kind of looks like DB Cooper.
Yeah.
Maybe he's also that. Yeah.
He's like an amalgamation of like every man that's made you uncomfortable ever.
Yeah, literally though, that's exactly it. I do see that. That is strange. I like to believe that he's just a mentally ill man running around ruining people's days.
You're a mentally ill man running around ruining my day. That's
the point. I relate to him, so that's how I know it's real. Also, you know, it'd be seeing this man's face makes me think. I don't know if there would be a whole episode about it, or maybe we could just like briefly talk about it. But there's like a phenomenon with people doing drugs and seeing the same things, whether that is when people do DMT and they all see the same like alien god. And
like they call it like the God particle or whatever on Netflix.
Yeah, like, oh, there's a whole entire I know there's a series about it. I need to watch.
Because I'm not as diverse in heroin as you are.
Yeah.
But if you and I were to do DMT, what are the physical or life repercussions of that? Like, what if we did DMT and tried to do like past life regression and record it?
I don't know if we could even get our hands on.
We can't just order it on the internet.
DMT is not like DMT is not like acid or mushrooms. It's not like I could just call up my fucking homie and they could get it up.
I mean, should I Google how to buy DMT on my work
Definitely
computer?
do not. Definitely do not. DMT makes you super fucking sick. Like you have to like puke, I think, or like I think maybe I'm getting mixed up with peyote, but like
maybe like
you have like
cough syrup. Can't you do a lot of cough syrup? Maybe I'm thinking, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
No, I'm actually pretty sure I'm thinking of the right thing. It's just because it's it's a hallucinogenic drug. The active ingredient is it's the active ingredient in ayahuasca. That's what I'm thinking about. Because ayahuasca, you go to like South America, you have like a guide who does it, who like helps you through it.
Because that is hard to get.
You get violently ill. You get violently ill first, and then after you're done with that is when you start having the trip, and it lasts only like 30 minutes.
Let's just do salvia.
But let's not.
Why?
But like we do like. This is the thing. Here's the thing. And this is totally like this is totally hypotheticals because I don't take illicit drugs, but I feel like the closest you could get to this would be doing like a fuck ton of mushrooms.
I feel like sativa might. Well, I guess no, probably not. I haven't done sativa either. Maybe mushrooms. I do think it would be like interesting. Sativa and indica, like the types of weed strains.
What's that salvia? Fucking weird thing? Yeah, that, salvia is what you're talking about. Salvia. Salvia is scary. I wouldn't know, but I just don't.
I mean, I saw a bunch of my friends on it, and it looked hilarious, but I never tried it.
It's another thing, so I hear, that's like really quick, like
minutes. Yeah,
minutes.
All I did was I watched my friend try to catch a bunch of footballs coming at his face, and it was so funny to me for some reason. Experience-wise, I do want to have a more immersive episode. It could be even just like drinking a ton of wine and talking about true crime, but it would be cool to do an immersive episode.
Are you telling me you want me to do drugs and record an episode?
I want to do an immersive episode, Noelle. It doesn't have to be drugs. We could just read the Bible.
That sounds terrible. That sounds like my nightmare. Okay, she's winking. Winking.
I'm not. I'm not winking. I'm drinking my water.
You say that, but like, here's the thing. So allegedly, a time when I was on a hallucinogenic drug and and I allegedly was peaking, allegedly, in a time where your mouth allegedly doesn't want to move and you're really struggling to just stay on the earth, allegedly. I had been tasked to order pizzas for an entire house of people. And
Allegedly. This was all in a dream.
allegedly, yeah, this was in a dream. This dream I had, the alleged dream, I was handed someone's credit card and I was at a house I didn't know the address of, and I was on the phone allegedly with the Pie Pizzeria ordering 4 pizzas while allegedly peaking. And I went outside and I stared at the street and I was like, "You've got to get it together. You've got to tell this person the address. You've got to tell this person where to come." And like as I was reading the numbers off of the credit card, they were like floating away. It was such a trip, some might say, if it allegedly had happened. You want to know so all I'm saying is I would usually say that's a terrible idea. I think allegedly if you were on substances, you would be incapable of recording anything. Funny videos are people who do hallucinogenic drugs and they're like, we're going to have a paint night. And it's just a bunch of people on the floor holding a paintbrush, unable to do anything.
Sounds great.
So I think that's more of what you would get. But there is a part of me, because of my alleged situation that I was able to handle before, that goes, maybe I could pull through. Because I do sometimes, I have the strength of like a fucking Roman army and I could just get myself out.
What I'm thinking would be to legal substances only. Maybe take like a Tylenol and then go into like a sensory deprivation tank and just see what happens.
I don't think I would be well.
I think that I would also be unwell.
I think if we took a Tylenol and then went into a sensory deprivation tank, I would, whatever thin veil that keeps me on reality as it is right now would disintegrate.
I actually have a great idea. What we should do is take the Lemurian seed crystals that I still haven't mailed out yet, but I will soon.
Jesus.
And then take those into the sensory deprivation tank and see what, if like just the fucking energy of those.
Oh, being sober, no.
Yeah. Because
people say they fucking lose their mind a little bit just being in those tanks as it is.
No. Yeah, totally sober, but with the Lemurian seed crystals for past life regression and see what comes to the surface, like what bubbles up with that.
I am going to be so for real with you. If we were to take Tylenols, winks, and try to think about past life stuff, I feel like I would lose reality. I would never come back. I would never be well again.
We didn't do our past life. We did like a very short past life regression with each other, but we need to do like one of the long ones that I did where I actually like, I don't know if I saw anything, but like I imagined a bunch of stuff. We need to do something like that. We need to revisit some of the past life shit because I feel like we really didn't do our due diligence with that, especially now that you're friends with like the crystal girls. Mm-hmm. We can just lay in a bathtub full of crystals and then fucking walk out of our bodies.
That's the hope, man. That's the hope and the goal. Actually, I'm terrified of that. I'm so terrified of that because I feel like if there's a point where I fry my brain out of this existence, it's being on a Tylenol and then saying like, now think about your past life regressions. And
it's not even being on like Tylenol at this point. I'm just talking about being on fucking water, my dude.
Yeah. Well, laying on the water in the sensory deprivation tank. I don't know if I can handle that.
I think it'd be
great. Actually, you know what? You know those sound bowls that hippies use? Have you seen those?
Like the crystals, like
yeah, and they make all those crazy noises.
You want to go to a drum circle? Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to go to a drum circle, but like those, they're kind of like so people fuck them up and they ruin everything, and they sound like nails on a chalkboard. But when people know how to do them right, it's like ASMR to me. Mm-hmm. And when they do them real good, I'll start to like lose my vision. Does that make sense? Like I'll start to just like 100%. Zone out, like forces me to zone out. You should take a listen. I'll try to find a good one and I'll send it to you.
I used to have like a little one. No, I was like into that stuff. Like my parents would try to calm me down, like whatever means necessary. And
you're undiagnosed mental illness. Well, like straight up, if you get like the tinglies or like your vision starts to blur like mine does, like because you're just zoning out. Mm-hmm. I feel like if we went to someone who does that and then we try to do the Lemurian seed crystals. I think that's
and then
good.
sleep deprivation or the sensory deprivation tank.
That shit scares me. But if I'm on a yoga mat in broad daylight and someone's just ringing a bell, I'm gonna be okay.
If anyone listening knows how we can find that, like if you're locally Utah, let us know. Or if you just know how we can Google like what the name of that would be, I would be so down.
Yeah, I feel like we need to physically be there.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
It has to be like boots on the ground.
Yeah.
100%.
So can't wait. Yeah, can't wait for that. Cannot wait for that. Well, anyway, that was that. We went off topic a few times, including right now.
Par for the course. But that's Indrid Cold. I'm telling
that's
you, man,
Indrid Cold. That's merch ideas, and that's also past life regressions.
Yeah,
that's also talking off DMT and coming down to laying on a yoga mat.
So merch idea: Mothman going to a cute little flame, and then what would you say? Just that's Indrid Cold with like the picture of Indrid Cold. That's
horrible. Horrible.
All right.
Well, I've got a lot to think about.
Yeah, I need to hydrate. I drank too much wine while we were talking about this, and now I have to cough. I've been holding in a cough that transcends all coughs. Like I can feel it in my heart. How bad
Thanks for being an adult about it.
Yeah, you can hear like my little like throughout the episode.
I've got the black lung.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to see where the rest of this year takes us.
Only good things,
Hopefully on a metaphysical journey.
Yeah, on a journey only related to what we've talked about on podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm saying like
crazy.
I know. I'm trying to have a past life regression.
Yes. Same. Very same.
And it's not mental illness.
It's not. It's the Men in Black.
Probably.
All right. Well,
guess what? Hail Satan.
Hail John Kill. And farmers whose lives are ruined by aliens.
That's a true one.
Pour one out.